wellness revolution starts now.
Hello, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze. Welcome to today's program. We're going to discuss healthy eating as it relates to your health span. Your health span isn't how long you live, it's how well you are while you're alive. So, while everybody would like to live longer, if you think about it, if you live longer, you want to live healthy and be healthy and well during those times. And the most important thing you can do to ensure that you have a healthy lifespan, a health span, is by having a good, healthy eating program. Hippocrates, who was the father of medicine, this goes back 1,000 years before Christ, said, "Let food be your medicine and let medicine be your food." Well, we know in the United States that people live to eat. They don't eat to live. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. Think about eating to live a healthy life so you have a good health span. Now, I can give you some statistics, and you're going to fall into these statistics. 75% of the population is overweight. That means 3 out of 4 of you listening to this program right now are overweight. Of the population, 45% of the people are obese. So there's a good chance, almost 50-50 chance, if you're listening to this program, you're obese. Now, why does that matter? Well, because being overweight and being obese leads to some significant health problems. First, it leads to an increased risk of diabetes. Very commonly, people who are overweight or obese have diabetes. And that's type 2 diabetes or adult onset diabetes. That leads to elevated blood pressure. Elevated blood pressure leads to heart disease. And heart disease would include not only problems from heart attacks or congestive heart failure, but also strokes and kidney disorders. And it can lead to fatty liver disease. It leads to joint disease. So you get degenerative arthritis in your knees and hips. And an increasing greater percentage of people as they mature now, because we have such a large population of people that are overweight, have joint disease and end up having their knees amputated and their hips amputated and have prosthetic knees and prosthetic hips put in. So, and this is all a result of the American diet, the SAD diet. And that means that we're eating all these increased processed foods, which are high in sugar and in simple carbohydrates. So here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, we encourage our guests to first and foremost take charge of their health by taking charge of their eating plan. I don't believe in dieting at all. I don't encourage people to diet. I encourage people to eat healthy, eat to live. I have a good friend of mine, I'll give you an example, who I've known for decades, and over the last several decades, he's continued to gain weight. He's about 6 foot tall, and he went from being 180 pounds in high school. He grew and got up to 250 pounds 30 or 40 years ago. Then he got up to 300 pounds, then 350 pounds. And 2 years ago, he's in his 50s, he weighed 430 pounds. Now, can you imagine that? If you weigh 200 pounds, go put a 215-pound bag on your back and just see how long you could handle that. You can imagine what that caused, what problems that caused in him, the things I've talked about. Not only did he have joint problems and degenerative arthritis, but he also had diabetes, for which he took insulin shots. He had an enlarged heart. He had a fatty liver, which can lead to cirrhosis of the liver. And he had multiple kidney stones. These were significant problems. He was hospitalized numerous times. And at some point, approximately 2.5 years ago, he realized that if he didn't get his weight down to a more ideal body weight, that he was going to die young, and he would have. And I was concerned about him. I didn't expect him to be alive right now, and he is. He's lost 215 pounds. He's down to 215 pounds in weight right now and wants to go lower, get down to 200. His diabetes is completely resolved. He has no fatty liver disease. His liver enzymes are completely normal. His kidney functions normal. He hadn't had any more stones, and he looks and feels great. The only thing he's going to need is a good facelift because he's got half the skin sagging all over his body, and he's going to need to do a tummy tuck and all that. But he looks grand, and he's down to suits that he hadn't worn in 30 and 40 years. That's changed his life, and that can change your life by getting yourself on a healthy eating program. Now, there are other things that can cause people to gain weight, even on a healthy eating program, like low thyroid situation. And we'll talk about that in upcoming broadcasts, and I've talked about it previously on my podcast. So the key thing is to get yourself on a low carbohydrate diet, low simple carbohydrate diet. That means eliminate wheat products, corn products, potato products, and rice. All these are simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are sugar molecules hooked together. Those are the simple carbs. So you get that in the bread and the pizza, pasta, and all the cakes and cookies and everything that people are eating all the time in our American eating plan. So those quickly get converted to sugar. And when sugar gets elevated in our body secretes from the pancreas insulin. And insulin is supposed to drive the sugar into the cells of our body so we burn it and use it. But when we have excess sugar, we make increased amounts of insulin, and insulin, then the cells become resistant to the insulin. This is called insulin resistance. So we have high levels of insulin and high levels of sugar, and then the insulin drives the sugar into fat. So that's what causes you to gain weight when you eat a high, simple carbohydrate diet. So we recommend in our eating program, we put our people on a yeast cleanse eating program. We eliminate, yeast is like fungus, and it gets in our colon, usually from overuse of antibiotics during our lifetime. Whenever you take an antibiotic, those antibiotics are meant to kill abnormal, unhealthy bacteria, whether it's in the throat, like strep throat, or whether you have sinus infections or bronchial infections or a skin infection or a boil or urinary tract infection, or bronchitis or pneumonia. Whenever you take an antibiotic, those antibiotics are meant to kill the bad bacteria. Unfortunately, the antibiotics will also kill normal, healthy bacteria that reside in the colon, the large intestine. And when they kill that off, yeast, which is in our system, in the colon, in small amounts, overgrows, and you get a overgrowth of yeast. Women will experience this by getting vaginal yeast infections when they take antibiotics. But either male or female, you'll also get yeast in the colon, and yeast produces toxins that get absorbed through the lining of the intestines and get in the immune system, get into the blood, and then affect the immune system adversely and make it more susceptible to allergies and infections. You get more infections, you get on this cycle of illness where you're taking antibiotics, you clear up, now you've got yeast, and you eat a simple carbohydrate diet, and yeast grows on sugar. So you're feeding yourself all these simple carbohydrates, and the yeast is producing toxins and making you sicker and sicker. And you get gastrointestinal problems on top of this. So we eliminate all the simple carbs for 3 months. We do a strict elimination, and we use medication to kill yeast in the spore form. It's not into the cell walls, but in the spore form in the colon. So nystatin is used to clean the spore form out of the colon, and then and that's used for 3 months, and the difluconazole may be used for a week or 2 weeks to kill the spore form as it embeds into the colon. And this cleans the colon, and then simultaneously we take probiotics, good healthy bacteria into our system, and you can eat good healthy homegrown yogurt, which contains good healthy bacteria to recolonize the gut and restore the microbiome. The biome is the good healthy it's a bacteria in your colon, and you want a healthy microbiome. And that is very important, and that's one of the reasons we go on the yeast-free eating program, is to clean out the gut and get a good microbiome, as well as also decreasing the amount of sugar in the blood and the high insulin levels, which drive that to fat. We also recommend a ketogenic eating program. So that entails eating, say, somewhere on the order of 55 to 60% healthy fats like butter and eggs. Yes, butter and eggs, contrary to what many of the physicians have been saying for years. Stay away from fats. Eat a lot of carbs. That was a healthy eating program that the government gave us starting back in the 60s. Eat a lot of carbs, simple carbs, bread, bread and wheat products and corn and rice. Stay away from fats because you'll get heart disease. Well, guess what? It's just the opposite is true. A simple carbohydrate eating program, if that's what you're eating and gaining weight, it leads to, as I mentioned, diabetes. It leads to high blood pressure. It leads to heart disease, kidney disease, fatty liver disease, strokes, a whole host of health problems that can be reversed by eliminating the simple carbs and then reducing them dramatically going on to long term and eating healthy meats. 30% of the diet should be meat, 55 to 60% should be healthy fats, and then 10% would be carbs, and we'd recommend the complex carbs like your beans would be a complex carb, legumes and those sort of things. And those are not quickly converted into sugar. So that's the healthy eating program that we recommend here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center in order for you to get on a lifelong path of health and wellness. Additionally, there's other parts of our treatment protocol, but if you simply adopt that, you will do a dramatic change or experience a dramatic change in your health. And let me just tell you, you can't outrun an unhealthy eating program. It takes 3,200 calories are in fat. That's how many calories are in fat. And you have to run a huge amount of distance. Every mile you run, if you're a jogger, you can burn 120 calories. So you're figuring it's going to take you somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 mile run to burn off 1 pound of fat in your body. So that's why I say you can't outrun an unhealthy diet. What you need to do, the exercise that you need to do, is push-aways. Now, one other healthy aspect we recommend in eating is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is where you eat one meal a day, and that will be, once every 24 hours you have your meal. I've been intermittent fasting for literally decades, which means I don't eat breakfast, I don't eat lunch, I have a cup of coffee 3 times a day, and then I have a dinner at night, and my dinner consists of good, healthy meat and good, healthy vegetables, green vegetables, and salad with olive oil. That's what I have every day. Now, because I've got down to an ideal body weight, I'm 6 foot, weigh 160 pounds. I'm about somewhere around 5 pounds below my playing weight in high school. And I've kept that weight that way because I eat healthy. And there have been times in the past when I didn't eat healthy and I gained weight and I just cut back my simple carbs and Doesn't mean I never have any simple carbs anymore, but because I'm down to an ideal body weight, I can occasionally have a roll, or we'll get a dessert and I'll have a few bites out of dessert, but I don't overdo it because I can keep my body weight down. And when you intermittent fast, it enables your cells to burn away and get rid of all the garbage that the cells develop from all the biochemical process that cleans them out. It lets your mitochondria, which is your power plants in your cell, produce more energy, so you become more energetic. You lose weight. Obviously, by losing weight, you're going to have more energy. And then by enabling your power plants, your mitochondria and the cells to work better because you're doing intermittent fasting, you'll have more energy. And you'll find it may take you a couple of 3 weeks to get on that program, but once you get on that program and you do intermittent fasting, you'll find you feel like $1 million. I do. And I'm 75 right now and still going and blowing. And that's because I eat healthy. And of course, I take loads of vitamins and minerals and natural hormones, which we'll talk about in other segments. So if I want to leave you with this point again, that Hippocrates said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. Nobody is sick because they have low levels of pharmaceutical drugs in their body. Nobody is overweight because they don't have enough Ozempic in their body. People are overweight first and foremost primarily because they eat the sad American diet, which is made up of all the processed foods. If it's in a packaged bag or box, just eliminate it. Eat healthy. And I recommend you're eating grass-fed, grain-fed, unvaccinated beef. Buy it. You can buy it from farmers in the area. That's what I've done, and I have some steers that we raise that are grass-fed, unvaccinated, and we don't fertilize the fields. And they're great, and we butcher one every year or so and share that with the family, and we also butcher for friends. But there are other people around the area. In your area, you can find people that have unvaccinated and grain-fed beef. And that's what you want. You want the same in your chickens as well. They're now vaccinating all these animals. I'm talking about the cows, the pigs, the chickens. They're vaccinating them with the mRNA vaccine, and only God knows what kind of effect that will have with the nanoparticles getting into your body. So I don't eat at a restaurant except fresh caught fish that's caught offshore. It has to be caught, within the first several days, and it can't be frozen. That's what I recommend eating if you're going to a restaurant. Eat fresh caught fish. I don't trust the meat. The only time I eat meat and chicken is what we grow at our ranch, and it's delicious. And you can do the same thing by buying that and keeping it in your freezer at home. Those are my recommendations on a healthy eating lifestyle. I hope this has helped you. If you want to get on a path of health and wellness, by the way, I do have a book, Dr. Hotze's Optimal Eating Program, and you can contact our new guest consultants at 281-698-8698, or you can go to Physician Preference Vitamins to get you the book, Dr. Hotze's Optimal Eating Program, and you'll find that book has got some wonderful recipes in it. And if you adopt that eating program, you're going to get down to an ideal body weight. That's the most important thing you can do for your health, is get down to an ideal body weight. Make that a priority. Take charge of your health. Get down to an ideal body weight. Well, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity to visit with you today. I hope this will give you an encouragement and motivation to get yourself down to your ideal body weight so you can experience energy, vitality, and enthusiasm for life.
Did you know that pharmacists are considered the most accessible healthcare professionals, and yet at the same time we are generally the most underutilized? Pharmacists are medication experts, which means that we can best advise you on the safe and appropriate use of your medications, when to take them and how to take them. We're experts in pharmacology. which means that we receive extensive training to understand the science behind how medications work within the body. We screen for any interactions which may occur between the medications you're taking, and we have an in-depth understanding of how these medications affect each system of the body. Your body is unique, which means that the type and dose of medication you take should also be unique. We want you to know that at Physician's Preference Pharmacy, we are always available to you, and we welcome your questions.
Information provided on this program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this program is at the listener's discretion.